All right. So assimilation schools, big number M in our notes. Do any of you guys know what the word assimilation means? Okay, I'm going to use it in a sentence. See if you guys can chime in and tell me what you think it means. Okay. Diego moved to the United States from Honduras, and after about 2 years, he was assimilated. What happened to Diego?
He like transferred into the culture of the US,
Okay,
or like he adopted the culture.
good. What happened to his native Honduran culture? What do we think
It
happened?
it like left him,
It
kind
left
of.
him. Yeah, he doesn't have it as strongly anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
So assimilation, in your notes, guys, assimilation is adopting a new culture at the expense of the old culture. So usually the old culture is either destroyed or just kind of neglected and forgotten. So assimilation is adoption of the new culture at the expense of the old culture. If I tell you that Diego assimilated after a couple of years, you're going to assume that he's speaking English, that he's dressing like an American, he's eating American food, right? You're going to assume that he's doing that, right? That's the assimilation. In this case, the policy here, assimilation schools, is for Native American children, okay? The US government opens up schools across the country and then kidnaps children from the tribes and forces them to go to school. Okay, so that's what you need to put in your notes, that line. The US government opens up these schools and forces the army to take these kids and bring them to the school. And they take the kids really young, like at say 4 years old or younger. They take them quite young. Okay. Put this quote in your notes here: "Kill the Indian, save the man." Fernando, what do you think that quote means? Kill the Indian, save the man.
I think it means like kill the Indian culture and just, I feel like, reform them into like a proper, what they think that's proper.
Yeah, that's exactly correct. That's good. So in the quote, in your notes, the next bullet down, put "Kill the Indian, save the man." Kill the Indian, save the man. And then next to that, let's put that you're destroying Indian culture in order to save the person himself, right? There's this concept that you're going to be able to get rid of all of that nasty Indian culture that we don't want and replace it with good white America culture. That's what they're looking to do. Now, and hey, Ethan. So in your notes then, in the notes then, but underneath there, put things they force the children to do, things they force the native children to do. And then we're going to make a bullet pointed list going down. Are any of you guys reading the Zakala Saw book? I know one of the English teachers. Amanda, you're reading it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's your teacher?
Edmonds.
Edmonds? Okay. I think Edmonds is the only one teaching it this year, but there's a bunch of 11th graders who are reading it, right? So this is, Zakala Saw is in these assimilation schools, right? She's learning this stuff in the assimilation schools. So
yeah,
it's what she's talking about. So Amanda, why don't you start us off? We have things that the kids are forced to do, and then we're going to make a bullet point list underneath that. Right? So Amanda, why don't you start us off right away? What's one of the things that the kids are forced to do?
Didn't they force her to cut her hair?
Good. Cut your hair. They're forced to cut their hair. This is especially for the boys, right? Because the boys have to have short hair, right? But the girls also have shorter hair too, right? We see them with like headbands and like shoulder length hair and stuff like that. And that's really traumatic, right? It's something that Zakala Saw talks about a lot in her book.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What else, Jacob? What else do you expect that the kids were forced to do?
The clothes.
I couldn't hear you, Jacob. No? Couldn't hear? Oh, okay, close. Jacob put it in the chat. All right, yes. So next bullet point, they're forced them to wear white person clothing. White person clothing, okay. Logan, what else do you think they're supposed to do? The kids are going to be forced to do.
Do a schedule which they're not used to.
Okay, okay. All right, so scheduled time, right? Scheduled activities and things, right? Okay, that's good. That's good. All right, Sam, what else?
They're gonna have to speak English.
There we go. That's a big one. Put it, speak English and then put a star next to it because that's one of the biggest ones. Okay. What else, Fernanda?
I guess they wouldn't, what Sam said, they wouldn't allow them to speak their language.
Right. So they can only speak English. What else would you say? Other than language, Fernanda, can you give me another one other than language?
No, I can't think of one.
All right, we're missing a big one. Who
I
else?
have one.
Yeah, Amanda?
The religion.
There we go.
Like
That's the other
fulfill
really
drama.
big one. They're forced to become Christian. They're forced to become Christian. One of the other ones that if you read the Zakala book, she complains about a lot is that they have to wear shoes, like hard, uncomfortable shoes. She complains about that quite a bit. They had previously worn like moccasins, right? Like leather shoes made out of like buffalo hide and stuff like that. Anyway, the kids are all forced to live like white people, essentially, right? They're forced to live this life. They're forced to live this life, and then so if they're kidnapped at like age 4 or something, raised in these schools the entire time, by the time they become an adult, are they going to have any real connection to their native tribes? No. If you were taken as like a 4-year-old, you're not even going to know who your parents are. You're not going to know who your tribe is. You probably don't speak your language. You probably don't even know where to go. You know what I mean? So at
Yeah,
that
it's
point,
probably
yeah, Logan?
only going to be DNA that
Right.
remains of.
Exactly. They're not really part of the tribe at all anymore at that point. And so this is the goal of this. Okay. The army is going to go and raid all the native tribes and take as many of the children as possible. Okay. They're going to open up these schools, hundreds and hundreds of these schools all across the country. We had one up in Ogden, Utah. We had one up in Ogden that we did that. And the one in the picture here is from Pennsylvania. It's one of the biggest ones. And all of these kids are from different tribes. So you have these ones from the Sioux, and these ones from Apache, and these ones from Cheyenne, and these ones from Shoshone, right? They're from all different tribes, and then they're forced to live together and go to class together, and they can't talk to each other because they're all from different tribes, right? They have to speak English. All right, let's go. Big number N, the next one. Oh, no, keep this on M. Let's keep it on there because she's connected to the schools. Helen Hunt Jackson. Right, this lady right here, she is an Indian rights activist. Logan, you taking some notes, man? Are you? Logan's just making faces at all of us. Oh, I see. You're recording it. All right. I'm with you, man. I'm with you. All right. So Helen Hunt Jackson is an Indian rights activist, and she writes a book called A Century of Dishonor. And in her book, she basically writes all of the bad things that America did to natives over the last 100 years, essentially. And she makes an argument that the United States has been very, very bad to natives and that the United States needs to treat natives better. And she wants to, put it in quotes, save them, right? She says that the best thing we can do to save them is the schools, is to open up these schools We may not be able to save, we can't save Crazy Horse, right? He's a grown man. He's fighting people. He's riding horses and shooting folks. We can't save him. You just got to kill Crazy Horse. You got to kill Sitting Bull. You got to kill those adult leaders. But what you can do is save the children, right? Kill the Indians, save the man. Now, this book becomes a huge runaway success. It becomes one of the most successful books in all of American history, in the United States at this time period, right? One of the top books. And because of it, it becomes very, very popular across the United States for people to choose, for people to embrace this idea that you can save the natives. Okay? What do you guys think about her? Is she, Sam, would you classify her as a civil rights activist?
Not really,
Why not?
because I mean, she's saying, let's save the Indians, but doing so, let's make them lose everything that kind of makes them Indians.
Okay. All right. What do you think, Kelvin? Would you count her as like a civil rights activist?
I don't really know.
Well, what do you think?
Uh, yeah, I don't know.
Well, what do you think of her plan? She's trying to kill the Indian, save the man. Does that sound like a good civil rights plan?
Uh, Not really.
Why not?
Um, I don't know.
Amanda, help him out.
Personally, I don't think so because she's trying to change them to not be a part of their culture, take them away from their culture.
Right. Under the modern definition of civil rights, we would say she probably doesn't count, right? Because she's wanting to destroy like the Sioux culture or the Lakota culture or the Navajo culture. She wants to destroy those cultures and replace them with Christianity, with English, with, white person style clothing and food and lifestyle. She's trying to replace all those things. The thing we need to remember, though, is the way that Americans viewed natives at this time, right? Do any of you guys remember how like Ulysses Grant and the U.S. government viewed Native Americans? Were they viewed as American? What were they viewed as? Someone chime in. How were they viewed?
Dangerous, like sort of monsters kind of way.
Okay. Right? And are they Americans?
No.
No. What did Grant call them?
Savages?
No, he called them a foreign army. Right? He said that they were foreign soldiers on American land. Right? That's what Grant called them. And that was a very, very common way to look at it, is that at this point, the U.S. Army's policy was the only good Indian is a dead Indian. That's the policy that they're fighting with. The only good Indian is a dead Indian. And she comes along and says, kill the Indian, save the man. Right? So she's trying to change the way that they view this and think about this. And so for her time period, she is a pretty strong civil rights activist. But by today's standards, not really, right? This is one of these instances where times in the past aren't the same, right? They're not linked together. Okay, let's move forward. I'm going to jump ahead here. There we go. All right, this is big number M. Big number M, the ghost dance. The ghost dance. All right, so this man right here, his name is Wovoka. Wovoka. Okay, he is a Paiute Indian. I put it in the chat how do you spell Paiute. He's a Paiute Indian, and he's from Nevada. Okay, you guys may remember Paiute from some states as Utah, That's where we get the name Utah from. The Ute Indians and the Paiute Indians. Paiutes and Utes are like sister tribes, right? That's where we got the state name from. He's from Nevada. At this point in Indian history, things are bad. They've been losing battles against the army. The army's been taking their land. The army has been gobbling it up, dividing their land up, right? They've been selling it off to white people. And now they're kidnapping their children. They're taking their children away. Wovoka is a holy man, and he has a vision. So he's a holy man, and he has a vision. In his vision, he and his people start to do the dance. And they start to do this dance, and this dance starts to spread across all of Native America, right? Different tribes start to do the dance. And as all the different tribes start to do the dance, they all unify into one tribe. And once they unify in this dance, this spiritual dance, remember, dancing for Native Americans is prayer, right? As they unify into this form of prayer, this dancing prayer, the dead rise from the ground. All of the dead natives from the past, everyone who's been wrongfully killed by white people in the past, rises up. They're unified with the living natives and the dead natives, and they unify together in an army that the white people can't beat. They expel the white people from the land, and they get their land back. The buffalo comes back. Their lifestyle returns. Now, I'm not a holy man. I don't know anything about visions, but Wovoka treats this as a vision. And he starts to spread this message around to people. He starts to spread it around to all Native tribes. And Native tribes across the entire United States all start to do this dance, this ghost dance. They all start to do it together. Now, in your notes, put that the ghost dance is a religion. Put the ghost dance is a prayer. It's a prayer, and that it's supposed to do two things. What are the two big things it's supposed to do? Or, well, three things. There's three big things it's supposed to do. Give me one.
Bring back the dead to fight.
Okay, bring back the dead. Okay, what else? Calvin, what else is it supposed to do?
Is it supposed to unify the other tribes? Yeah.
Okay, unify all the tribes, bring them back, and then once you've unified them and brought them back, then what is it supposed to do? Ethan, what is it supposed to do after that?
I'm not sure.
Oh, we just said it just a second ago. Fernanda, help him out.
You mentioned something with buffalo?
Before the buffalo. How do the buffalo come back? Who do you have to kill and get rid of first?
The American.
Yes, the white people, right? That they're going to unify the tribes, they're going to braise the dead, and then they're going to destroy all the white people and get them out of their land, right? Okay. What do you think your next line down here is? What is the army going to do to the ghost dance? What do we think?
Kill them while they're praying.
Well, don't spoil the ending, Sam. It's coming, right? But initially, before we get to the killing part, what is the army going to say about the ghost dance itself? Is the army going to embrace this? They're going to say, we really enjoy your cultural, religious heritage, and we welcome you to dance across the land. Does that sound...
They're gonna take it as an opportunity to attack.
Right. The army looks at the ghost dance as a threat. You need to put that in there. The army looks at the ghost dance as a threat and makes it illegal. Okay. So this brings us to where Sam was leading us to. The massacre at Wounded Knee. The massacre at Wounded Knee. There's a big number N, right? That last one was M, is that right? So this one's N like November?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. N stands for Massacre at Wounded Knee. December of 1890. This takes place up in Montana. Wounded Knee is the name of a river again. It's the name of a river, the Wounded Knee River. The Sioux are doing their ghost dance. They're doing this ghost dance, and they do the ghost dance for 24 hours a day, day in and day out, for 4 days in a row. And you've got people coming in from other tribes around here, right? And they're all doing this. Now the Sioux is historically has been the largest tribe, right? The tribe that has killed George Armstrong Custer, killed Fetterman, right? This is a tough tribe. This is the tribe of Crazy Horse. This is the tribe of Sitting Bull, right? Crazy Horse is dead. Sitting Bull's been captured. This is that tribe, though. They're doing the dance for 24 hours a day. A guy will get up and he'll dance for 8 hours, and then he'll sit down and someone will take his place and keep the dance going, right? They keep going for 4 days and 4 nights. The army is freaked out. The army sets up in stations all around the dance, right? All around, and the army has all their guns aiming in the middle at the group. As the army is all aiming at the group, the army orders the natives, stop this dance now. The dance is illegal. Stop it. They won't stop. Stop this or we're going to stop you. They won't stop. On the 4th day, we don't know what happened, but somebody shot. Somebody shot a gun. And once they shot the gun, we don't know who shot first, but we know who shot last. The army opens fire on the crowd. And the army has a new toy that they brought to the battlefield called a machine gun. They've just invented the machine gun. They open it up and they shoot into the crowd and they kill the entire crowd. No army soldiers are killed. Here's the leader. Bigfoot. His name is Bigfoot. He was first captured and then killed on the spot. They killed him. The army calls this the Battle at Wounded Knee, is what they call it. The Battle at Wounded Knee. And they report that they have vanquished the evil Sioux tribe, and they've destroyed the evil Sioux tribe that was trying to rise up with the ghost dance. Now, is the army scared that the dead are going to come back from the dead? No. What is the army really scared about? What's the army scared about?
The tribes are going to come together and have the confidence to fight.
Yeah, that's the problem, right? For the last 80 years, the army's been able to fight tribes one-on-one. It's relatively easy to kill the tribes one-on-one, right? But if they were all unified into one big giant tribe, then that would be very, very difficult, okay? Newspaper reporters come up here and they start to investigate. They don't believe the army side of the story. And so they start to do things like look in the mass graves and find the bodies. Once they do that, they find of the 350 Sioux that were killed, about 300 of them were women. They were almost all women. And the men who were there were elderly or injured. There are men that had been previously injured in previous battles, right? Like men who lost a leg or something like that, right? Or there are men in their 60s and 70s. They were too old to fight. And then there was a couple of children, 5 or 6 children as well, right? The newspapers stop calling it the Battle at Wounded Knee and they start calling it the Massacre at Wounded Knee. Because if you're shooting at a bunch of elderly men, women, and children, that's not a battle. That's a massacre. All right, the Massacre at Wounded Knee is important because the Massacre at Wounded Knee is the end of the Indian Wars. This is the last of the Indian Wars. Native wars are going to continue for a little while. The Apache are going to continue fighting down in Arizona. The Blackfoot are going to continue fighting up in Montana a little bit. But this is the traditional end of the war. There's no more big, giant army movements that we're going to get. We're going to get real small level movements from this point forward. Okay? The natives have been beaten down. The natives have been beaten down and the natives have largely been broken. So today, in the United States, Native American population is somewhere around 3% of the United States today, right? At one point, Native American population was, you know, at the time of the Civil War, the breakout of the Civil War, Native American population was probably somewhere around 25% of the country. Today, it's about 2 or 3%. In Utah, we're about 5%. 5% Native American. We have Western states have more than Eastern states, right? New York is like 0%, basically. All right, do you guys have questions about any of this stuff?
No.
Yeah, it's pretty sad, pretty kind of depressing. All right, so next time I meet you guys, we're gonna go to the Northeast and we're gonna start building up amazing buildings, and we're gonna build New York and the Statue of Liberty and a bunch of other stuff. Cool? All right, guys. All right, I will see you later. Peace out.